WCS?
Daybreak.
Daybreak, yes, of course. Lucky for you guys, it's not as EVZ.
If any of you guys watched WCS and MLG over the course of the last weekend, you've probably seen enough ZVZ on Daybreak for the rest of the year.
Yep, you could probably recite blindfolded
Yes.
how the ZVZs on Daybreak will unfold.
You know, I felt I became so expertise in ZVZ over the last weekend, and I feel like one of those chess masters who doesn't have to look at the at the board anymore. Like, I think I could play a top level ZVZ right now without actually looking at the screen.
Pawn to King's 5.
Yes.
SUV.
Two drones.
Just like blindfold yourself, play a ZVZ against Scarlet, and like make it a 40-minute macro game. Almost wins anyway. But
Well, the problem is, like, you can probably do that because all that people do on ZVZ on Daybreak is they make 8 Zerglings, 2 defensive Banelings, a Spine Crawler, and then they max out. So
that's pretty much the unspoken agreement between Zergs when you play on Daybreak.
yeah, it's like, all right, guys, let's just max out and see who does better.
Except for Sasquatch. I want to just give Sasquatch some props. I really enjoyed watching his ZVZ at MLG over this past weekend.
Stefano and Violet are still 2 guys who play sort of different as well.
Sasquatch plays sort of similar to those guys. He's got his own spin on it. He gets a single Evo chamber, upgrades armor, and then makes about 20, 30 Zerglings at a fairly early time in the game just for map control. It's cute, and then he transitions into the normal stuff that we're used to seeing. But I like the way he does that. It's very strong.
Yeah, that sounds fun. I was talking a little bit with Violet the other day on MLG, and he's like, oh, buddy, how's casting going? I was like, it's good, but so many ZVZ. He's like, ZVZ? I was like, yeah. He's like, Daybreak? I was like, yeah. He's like, oh, so boring. I was like, well, sometimes. I was like, how do you play? He's like, I play fun. I was like, really? He's like, yeah, I don't play boring like others.
It's true, man. He does play very fun. Violet played against Leenock over the weekend at MLG, and it was an incredibly exciting game on Daybreak. They both went mutas. When they fought, Leenock had 1 more mutalisk. When the fight was over, Leenock had like 12. So, funny how that works.
Majors, of course, are Mexican Terran spawning on the left bottom side of Daybreak. As we said several times already, comes over a relatively good WCS run. He dropped to the loser bracket in round 1 and still made it top 4 in the tournament. That's insane. He had to win like 7 best of 3s in a row to achieve that.
Sorry, that was just looking at a comic on 9gag. It made me laugh.
Alright, Ben. I have no words. Probe of TT1 is just cruising around. He did spot the refinery, so we see gas opening over here from Major, and he's gonna add the tech lab. A little bit confused. We might see that crazy build that Hard did. Was it Hard? Yes, it was Hard, I think, against Crank. No, Hard against Alicia. Yeah, it must have been Hard against Alicia. And I thought that was such a cool build. It was like the perfect build ever against any fast expand Protoss, and I always felt it was impossible to stop. I would love to give you guys inside details, but I don't know the exacts anymore. But it came down to 2 racks opening into factory, into medevac. He would have stim, combat shield, and +1. He would never like harass with banshees. He doesn't make a banshee. It's just sort of like a 1 base all in, but it's so strong because he has so many marines, and it's impossible to have like a Colossus, or maybe you can have 1 Colossus if you played super greedy, but you would die to anything else, and obviously Protoss can't just bank on the fact they won't have to deal with Hellions and whatnot. But anyways, that's not the case. You guys should check it out though. It's really, really cool build by Hard.
Yep. In this case, we're seeing a concussive shell opening. Some Marauders going to be popping out, and I think Major's just going to expand behind it. So maybe some Marauder pressure. Usually when you see openings like this, that barracks is proxied. So I don't really know how successful this is going to be, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's true to some degree, but it's always confusing for a Protoss to scout gas. They have to worry about so many things. Certainly when Daybreak is such a popular Hellion map, and this is something that could happen. Protoss wants to see what's going on, and they will end up losing their first Stalker. And if they still went for the 1 gate fast expand, this is the scenario that TT1 is in right now. He's going to have to deal with 2 Marauders, 2 Marines. He has 1 Stalker and he only has 1 gateway. TT1 is already in a lot of trouble after losing that Stalker. I know you guys hate it when I exaggerate the first Stalker, but guys, he's in a lot of trouble.
He is in fact in major trouble, Kev. Oh, major trouble as the bunker goes down there in the natural, and I don't think it's going to be very easy for TT1 to get down that ramp. He's going to need this second Stalker at least, and probably some probes.
Yeah, he's going to need a lot of probes. Okay, that's what he's doing. He's bringing really a lot of them. Probes are very good against Marauders. Major was not paying attention, so he's actually going to get surrounded.
Great control there, TT1 catches.
Wow. TT1 is not in trouble at all. He defends like a boss.
TT1 has a major lead now after getting his expansion down ahead of his opponent.
Sick defense by TT1. Beautiful patience by the Canadian Protoss. Waited for the second Stalker, then brought a lot of probes. No reason to underreact, otherwise you're just going to get kited and lose a lot of probes. Major did not pay attention though. He should have moved the units instantly as he was still focusing on Nexus. But still, great defense by Pyam. Pyam being TT1.
The third orbital, or I'm sorry, third command center going down for Major, so he's aiming for a 3 orbital opening, which is pretty good for him. But Major already sitting on a probe lead in TT1. Major doesn't play Protoss, Kev, and we're gonna see an extra gateway going on. You think TT1 might be thinking pressure?
Well, it's starting to look like it because he's not a Protoss who opens up normally with 4 gates. Definitely not with 5 gates or maybe even 6. I'm not sure. I don't really think that Major does this a whole lot. Major most of the time is a Terran player who really plays safe because I feel that he's confident in his macro games against Protoss. So what he often does is go up to, let's say, 2 medevacs and then 2 big groups of stim bio, and that's the moment when he starts expanding, making it hard for Protoss to go up to 3 bases. Now he expands a lot quicker. It might get ugly for him to defend, but with 2 bunkers, I actually feel that Major should be fine, even though he doesn't have a whole lot of units on the field right now.
He's got the racks, he's got the bunkers. Yeah, I think you're right. And he's even throwing down the 3rd bunker, so this is excellent preparation here for Major.
Steam is more than halfway done, but it's still going to take a little while. TT1 already starts chrono boosting, and Major has absolutely no idea about the
bunker, 5th bunker. How the hell does he know? I guess he just sees no units, therefore
yeah.
they have to be somewhere if they're not back in TT1's base. And now he's going to get up into the main, and well, if there was ever any doubt, it's gone now. Looks like a 6 gate. And TT1 right now is thinking, damn it.
He's like, well, that escalated quickly. Last time I checked, there was 1 bunker.
And let's go for it. Oh, abort mission.
Guardian Shield is activated as he dropped 2 force field, but beautiful bunker placement as well by Major. There's just absolutely nothing that TT1 is going to be able to do. All that Major has to do right now is not underreact. As you guys can see, yes, he has a lot of bunkers, but army supply still heavily favors TT1. So all that Major has to do, guys, is not go too greedy, just wait, get Steam out, and let his unit count go up. Then he's going to be more than fine.
TT1 transitioning as well, throws down the 3rd Nexus immediately. Hasn't pulled his army back just yet. Might be hoping that Major... There it goes. So now Major can cancel the bunkers and proceed as normal.
Well, you don't want to do that too quick, you never know.
Was a good defense by Major.
Yep. No,
really nicely done.
He read it before it actually happened, so really excellent game sense by Major. As you said, the fact that the SCV was probably just able to be here. And yes, Major did see these 2 gates, and that's never the 1st gate, so he already put together... There were 3 gates, while actually Major went a little bit out of position. TT1 turned around, and that's why you never want to cancel those bunkers to or salvage them too quickly. Because if suddenly TT1 turns around, he could still make it happen.
Yep, TT1 still well ahead in supply, Kev, 94 to 70. That is a large army advantage. Still not enough of one to bust those bunkers, though. He knows it. He's falling back. He's getting forges and Twilight Councils and just proceeding to play a pretty normal game.
And it seems like we're going to see a very, very gateway heavy TT1. He's going to get Blink first. Could work awesome if Major decides to drop him, and that's actually what we see right now on the bottom side of the map. If TT1 is able to pick up these first 2 medevacs, I would say he's completely back in the game. Even though he still has a worker lead right now, but the biggest problem, just this guys, he is very, very far behind tech-wise, and the army of Major is going to have much more DPS.
That's right, Kevin. This 3rd base is in a little bit of trouble. TT1 quite out of position, and oh, Major's going to target probes and not the Nexus, and then he's going to load up. So. There's, of course, the age-old argument for guaranteed damage. You should always kill the thing that you know you can kill versus taking a risk of targeting down that Nexus and then being shut down while it's, halfway dead or maybe even closer, but just not quite dead.
I think the reason why Major decided to go for the probes is because he only had 2 Marauders in the mix. If he would have had 4 to 6 Marauders, I'm pretty sure he would have tried to take out the Nexus. But since he had so many Marines and only 2 Marauders, he decided to go for the probes. Can't blame him, but he didn't do a whole lot of damage. TT1's looking very good on the worker count. The only problem, as I said before, guys, is still he has no answer to a large concentration of bio units.
That's right. They're going to catch this pylon out here on the map. TT1, that poor Zealot. Reporting for, oh crap!
It's like, I thought spawn killing only happened in Quake. I became a Zealot for a reason.
This is not what I signed up for! Major going to be dropping 2 medevacs full of bio over here in the main base of TT1. Single cannon will slow him down a little bit. And look at this, multi-pronged aggression. TT1 easily able to respond to that action at the 3rd base, but nothing back here in the main. He's going to lose a lot of probes, Kev.
Yeah, very uncharacteristic by TT1 to not have any units in his main to deal with these drops, but that's of course because this has been such a weird game. He had a cannon, he hoped that would have been enough, but that's not enough. He only now has a robotics facility, and it's so hard to deal with all those drops if you don't have observers. Like, you always want to get an observer over here somewhere in patrol. It helps out so much spotting these drops.
Yep. TT1 has maintained that supply lead, but Major's position's getting better and better. Does he have a 4th command center yet?
No.
Not yet. But man, he has a lot of barracks.
And this is Hawkeye. Now we see Major catching up his supply as well. He dealt a little bit of damage, and still his army is a lot better. He's not ahead in upgrades anymore. TT1 has been chrono boosting his forges a little bit. And TT1 slowly but steady is getting a scarier army, but still right now there is not a single Colossus, there's no High Templar, so if Major just decides to attack right now with 41 Marines, we see double Robo even over here for TT1. If Major just attacks straight up, not trying to drop, not trying to split up the army, just attacks straight up, I don't see how TT1 has an answer to the DPS of Major's army.
Yeah, he's got great upgrades, he's got a great supply lead right now, or at least army supply lead at this point in the game.
Oh, Marine King Prime Factor.
Oh, I love it. I love the use of the factory there. Aggressively, it's going to force TT1 to fight in a bit of a choke here. And Major's just going to position his army just south of it. TT1 tries to focus down the factory. This is such an awkward position to fight from. It looks like that Nexus might not belong to this world, Kev.
Zealots do not have charge yet. Guardian Shield is activated, but TT1 can just not fight this army, as I've been repeatedly saying over the entire game.
Force fields.
Yep, force fields are pretty good, but you can cut off the units, but if you can't kill them, you still have a pretty big problem.
That is a lot of force field. Hard to say which way this fight's going, but TT1's the one whose supply is plummeting. Major using lots of stim, finally has to back off. Oh, and with the aggressive blink from TT1, he might get some of these medevacs as well. All the bio just left to fight as reinforcements try to stem in. TT1 trying to turn this fight around. Does he have enough?
TT1 is actually doing very, very good. He still has blink, so he can probably out-micro this army or just blink on top of it. He will clean up most bio units, but he lost so incredibly much. So all that Major has to worry about right now is one. Oh, actually, TT1 is going to go for the.
Wow, not going to all in at all. He's going to drop the Nexus again and try to bring it back. This is something that's become more and more characteristic of his play recently.
TT1 waited for a long time there, so he got a couple of additional warp-in cycles, while Major did not rally all of his units among his army. So eventually TT1 had enough sort of to deal with that, but he still lost way more than Major. As he also lost a base and a handful of probes.
Destructible debris has been taken out in the middle of the map, so either player can now trek back and forth much more quickly as Major's 4th base goes to land at that center expansion.
This time Major will go for portings. Still has a small army lead, but actually it's going to be a little bit more scary because that double Robo has been rolling. And there are 2 Colossus on the field right now. Now I'm actually...
No Vikings out at all. TT1's starting to make this pretty
force
close.
fields. Yeah, with good force fields, that would have been a fight he could have definitely won. That's about a couple of Zealots. TT1 is doing a pretty good job in hanging in there.
I think he's doing a damn good job, Kev. He's now got 3 Colossus, and Major doesn't really want to fight that without Vikings. Might cause him to just disengage altogether until he can get that Viking count up. He is producing them 2 at a time. Gonna need extra starports. Hasn't started building them just yet. A few units in a really bad spot there.
Actually starts ghost production as well. I mean, EMPs are always nice, but right now, all I would be worried about is getting a couple of Vikings out.
Same here, brother.
He never scouted the double Robo. I guess the moment he would have done that, he would have not been too worried right now about Ghost and rather get a sick amount of Vikings out.
A couple of medevacs making their way up to the top half of the map. They will once again be dropping in TT1's main. One thing we have to say about TT1 is he's been keeping his entire army pretty much together, so this drop could do some damage. Is Major, yes, Major is moving his main army at the same time, so he's looking to gain some position with his aggression. Oh, but TT1 is there, catches it. This also means that he's not really reacting to the drop, though.
This drop is going to do an insane amount of damage actually in the main base. All those pros will fall, at least most of them. But this army, TT1 could potentially win this fight.
Those are some really great force fields. Colossi going to make short work of the bio there. A few Vikings are in the mix, but they just get obliterated. And all of a sudden, Major's the one who's in big trouble. Still has units in the main base. Could have potentially killed a Thermal Lance, but was instead obviously more focused on that main fight. And right now, TT1 has a death ball of death-ball-y proportions, because that makes perfect sense, as he is coming around to the 3rd base.
Major is doing this so well, though. He knows he doesn't necessarily have to kill this army right now. He just waits a little bit, lands some really good EMPs, and now he's going to get engaged with those SCVs joining in as well. If I were him, I would have waited even a little bit longer, but only 1 Colossus remaining.
You know, that's going to thin out his ability to deal with the bio, but other than that, I think TT1's army is still very impressive. Continuing to pile on the pressure.
Orbitor is burning on the left side, as we can see. The drop in the main base is still dealing really a lot of damage. TT1 actually sort of dealing with it with these Immortals and these Zealots right now, forcing Major to finally pick up this unit. Now that was an interesting engagement. I would love to show you guys the units lost worker tab, but I can't do it because it's a Korean client. It doesn't allow me. But right now we have 45 SUVs for Major and 47 for TT1. TT1 actually outmining Major at the moment.
Yes, he is, and a couple of units going to be caught out here on the map. Again, TT1 wins a good fight. Major's going to stem in and go for it. He's got a lot of bio. There's no force field. Great engagement from Major.
Going to clean up the important units. A couple of these Stalkers did fall as well. TT1 is going to retreat, but TT1 has a very nice bank. Wiping a couple of Zealots. Yeah, he has charge. I knew he was researching before, so unless something weird happened, he has charge. And I think right now with all these Marauders, if TT1 is able to get like 12 Zealots in the mix,
could make a difference, but he's going to have to do it pretty quickly, Kev, as Major's army is deadly strong. He has reestablished that base in the center of the map.
15 blank Stalkers, 1 Colossus, 3 Immortals, 4 Zealots. TT1 is on 3-1 upgrades actually, while Major is on 3-3.
Yes, sir. And Colossi still are relevant in this game. It's just that single one right now, but a lot of Immortals, they're going to do very well against these Marauders. That's a good concave for TT1, but the Colossus falls so fast, Major might just have too many units. TT1 playing a great game, but I think he just got steamrolled, Kev.
Yep, it's going to lose pretty much everything over here. A lot of low HP units remain, but it is enough. GG is called, and Major takes the second game of the night as well.
Very well played. That means he's up to $150 in winnings and looking to win more. Excellent game out of Major. His next opponent looks like it is probably going to be Hwangson. So if ever there was any doubt, Stardust was not a Hwangson Smurf. That was the real Stardust. And the actual Hwangson is coming up next. Guys, we're going to take a very short break. Then we'll be back. I don't know why I'm doing guns with my hands, but it's happening. Just another day at the office, Kev.